next is Michael Majeski. And if I just could, we have the room till midnight. Based on the number of people we have left who've signed up, we won't have enough time. So we really want to hear from you, but if you could be as efficient as possible with your words, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Michael Majeski. My family is here in Newtown 3.5 years. It's way past my bedtime, thanks to many of my neighbors who didn't respect your allotment. I'm sure it's past some of yours. Frankly, unlike many here, I'm very disheartened by, and I would caution against any rush to add more laws and more regulations. I see it as a knee-jerk reaction to a killer who broke many existing laws in order to commit his heinous crimes. Any proposals that I've heard about being bandied about, and I'm sure are in front of you, being considered, seem to me to be targeted at the symptoms of the issues, and none would have done anything to stop or prevent what happened on December 14th. If there is any common sense or wisdom amongst the members of this committee, I would humbly ask that you focus more attention on the underlying cause of these murders and not the symptoms. The painful irony of a state mental hospital right up the street from here being closed because it was no longer needed is not lost on many of us in Newtown. That closing was the direct result of past legislative policy. It is one of hundreds across the country that met a similar fate. President John F. Kennedy started the ball rolling in 1960 with what became the policy of mainstreaming, the mainstreaming of mentally unstable people into our communities. Legislators and the experts in the psychology professions during the past several decades aided and abetted this push, whose main objective would seem to me to be based on politically correctness for its own sake. There are consequences to policy. The fundamental question of why these crimes did not occur 50 years ago, I have not heard asked very much, let alone have I heard much in the way of a reasoned answer. I would humbly submit that the first and foremost, it was because the severely mentally unstable back then were in places such as Fairfield State Hospital where they needed to be. Until you and everyone in the political classes and the media acknowledge and accept responsibility for the failure of mainstreaming as a policy, I submit that you are merely tilting at windmills with new legislation or regulation and are wasting our tax dollars. The reasons there is little in the way of resources for the mentally ill is because you closed the institutions and provided us a system where politically correctness towards the mentally ill was placed above the consideration of the risks they pose in our communities.
Mike, thank you.
I request that you publicly acknowledge this failure of policy before you push through any action in haste. Your policy decisions will have consequences, just like the policy of mainstreaming has. Please consider the long-run impact of these decisions in front of you, so a rush to act in the short run doesn't lead you into making similar mistakes.
Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you for providing this forum, and I hope it will genuinely be constructive.